This is part one of the new metal releases for the weekend of June 14, 2024. I have 5 albums to talk about. I divide the videos into two groups. The first video had bands that were mostly traditional heavy metal and hard rock, and the second video is going to have more of the extreme metal genres. I'm doing it this way due to the nature of the releases. The first album I have is from Axel Rudi Pell with Risen Symbol. Axel Rudi Pell is a German guitarist. He's been playing heavy metal for a long time. He was originally with the band Steeler, but then he started a solo career in the late 80s. It's his 22nd album, not counting the Steeler albums. I remember he had an album out in 2022 called Lost XXIII or 23, and I enjoyed that one. He has had a lot of vocalists over the years. He's worked with Rob Rock and Jeff Scott Soto, but his current vocalist is Johnny Gioeli, who's been with him since 1998. Now he's back again. He seems to be very consistent. You kind of know what you're getting into when he puts out an album. There are 10 songs. It's 57 minutes long. The songs are varying length from 1.5 to 10 minutes. There's a cover of Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song. Let me talk about that one first. Because at first I thought, oh no, do we really need another cover of the song? But it's actually pretty good. I liked it a lot. He used some different guitar tones and he made it his own, so it was actually a good cover. But the album opens with an instrumental, and then it goes into the first main song called Forever Strong. I was surprised. It was a pretty heavy song. It was fast-paced with a lot of energy. The song also had big vocals and a lot of melody. Then it was the song Guardian Angel. This one had more of a melodic hard rock or even hair metal sound. I thought it was a good song. Had a very catchy melody and a melodic guitar solo. Then was the song Darkest Hour. This sounded more like heavy metal from the 80s. Song had both heavy guitars and keyboards. It was another good one. It was another very melodic song. Then there was a 10-minute song called Ankalia. It was a very big and epic sounding song. It had very big and slow guitar riffs. It reminded me of the band Candlemass. Songs about taking this long journey to a faraway land. It had lots of Middle Eastern sounds and guitar riffs. Then there was a song Hell's on Fire, which was some more melodic heavy metal. The song had a big arena rock sound. Then the song Crying in Pain was slower and more emotional with some cool lead guitar playing. Then the song Right on Track sounded more like some of those glam metal bands of the 80s. This one was not too bad. The last one's a 7-minute plus epic called Taken by Storm. It's another one of the big and epic songs. It had some really big heavy metal guitar riffs. Overall, it's a really good album. I haven't heard of all of his albums, but I remember the one from 2022. It was really good. It's an 8.5 out of 10 for me. I think if you like this style of melodic heavy metal, you should check out this album. Next is Black Country Communion with V or 5. Not really a metal band. They're hard rock or classic rock revival. The Metal Storm website had them listed, so I decided to include it. I'll be honest with you, I've heard the name, but I've never listened to this band before. My first impression, they sounded like some early Deep Purple. And then I looked up the band and I saw that they were actually a supergroup. And the band has ex-Deep Purple member Glenn Hughes on bass and vocals, Joe Bonamassa on guitars, Jason Bonham on drums, and Derek Sherinian on keyboards. And I don't really need to tell you who all of them are. If you don't know, you can look them up. They're all rock star royalty. This album has a mix of some hard rock and some blues rock, so let's talk about it. The opening track is called Enlighten, and this is a hard rock track. It's a mix of everything, such as heavy guitar chords, a driving bass line, some spacey keyboards. The song also has some catchy hooks and big vocals. Then there's a song Stay Free. This was a funky song. It reminded me of the most recent Lenny Kravitz album, but also had some of those big hard rock hooks and some cool keyboard sounds. Then there was a song Red Sun, and this is some more hard rock with some big vocals. It reminded me of the band Winery Dogs, but had some elements of Soundgarden and Led Zeppelin. Kind of a weird combination, but that's what I got from it. Then there's a song called Restless, and this was some blues rock. It was a very laid-back type of song. I thought the guitar playing was very good. This band has Joe Bonamassa, and he's a really great blues guitarist. And I also thought it was an enjoyable song, and the guitar solo was really good. Then the song Letting Go, it was another hard rocker with some cool melodic guitar riffs. I thought it had a catchy chorus. Skyway is the next song, had some big guitar chords and some interesting blues rock arrangements, and that was a pretty good song. That one reminded me of some of the classic rock of the 70s. The keyboards added a different layer of sound on that one. Then there was a song, You're Not Alone. It had a harder rocking sound. It also had some awesome keyboard playing. Love and Faith was a standout track. It was a slower track, but had a cool keyboard intro. It had a big sound. It reminded me of Led Zeppelin's Kashmir and Your Time Is Gonna Come. This might actually be my favorite song in the album. Then there's the song Too Far Gone, which was more of an upbeat rocker. I thought the keyboard solo was really good on that track. The last song was called The Open Road. This was a straightforward blues rock song with a lot of melody. Overall, not too bad. It's good for fans of classic rock. If you like blues bands like Led Zeppelin and Cream, those kind of bands. So my score is an 8 out of 10. Thought it was worth a listen. Next I have Lucifer's Hammer, and the name of the album is Be and Exist. I'd never heard of this band before, but the name and imagery made me believe it was some retro-sounding heavy metal, and that's basically what it is. So anyway, this band is from Santiago, Chile. They've been active since 2012. It's their fourth full-length album. The album has 9 songs. It's 37 minutes long. First track is an intro track, and it's just 1.5 minutes of some trippy space music. It sets the tone for the album, and it matches the tone of the album cover. First track is called Real Nightmares, some fast and heavy classic heavy metal. You can hear a new wave of British heavy metal influence in their sound. It was a cool song. The bass guitar plays a big role in their sound. The music is fast, it's melodic, very reminiscent of the Paul Di'Anno era of Iron Maiden. They have some cool changes in the rhythm, and then there's the song Glorious Night with a classic heavy metal riff reminiscent of a band like Saxon. The song had some neoclassical playing and a very melodic breakdown in the middle of the song. Then there was the song Son of Earth. This was some more classic heavy metal. The vocalist shows off his range in this track, giving a loud scream at the beginning of the song. This one gets a little cheesy with the spoken part in the middle of the song. But that's cool because the band is showing their love for science fiction. Then there's the song Antagony. This one's very reminiscent of Iron Maiden again. Had that classic galloping sound in the guitar. But make no mistake, this band has their own sound, so I'm not saying that they are trying to be an Iron Maiden tribute band. Moving on, there's an instrumental called Fear of Anubis. This one has classic new wave of British heavy metal sounds. Song mixes some fast-paced guitar riffs and some melodic leads. The bass guitar provides the rhythm, and there are some cool drum fills as well. Then there was a song called Medusa Spell. This one has a lot of those melodic leads that we have been hearing on this album. Then there's a short 1-minute instrumental called Space of Being, which is just some clean guitar sound playing arpeggiated chords. And that goes into the last song, which is Be and Exist, the title track. And this is some old school heavy metal with some hard driving rhythms and a powerful drum beat. So overall, not too bad. The production is not great, but it makes the album sound like it was recorded 40 years ago. So it has that retro sound, and that's probably what the band was going for. My score is an 8 out of 10. I think if you like some of those heavy metal bands from the early 80s, you should check it out. The next band is Angel Sword with the album World Fighter. They are another heavy metal band. They're from Helsinki, Finland. They've been active since the year 2010. This is their third full-length album. The album World Fighter only has 8 songs and it's 32 minutes long, so it's a short album. Songs average about 4 minutes in length. This is another band that has that old school vibe. Even the lyrics were very old school heavy metal. For example, the opening track, Vigilantes, has lyrics talking about how they're going to roam the streets and make things right. Weekend Warriors about working a 9-to-5 job and coming home and defrosting a frozen dinner, but the weekend comes and they're getting ready to party. I won't go into all the lyrics, but let me get into the songs now. Like I said, the opening track is Vigilantes. This one had a very hard-driving rhythm. The band also has that classic heavy metal sound. The song is pretty good. It has some chugging guitars, and you can hear the bass guitar in some parts of the song. Weekend Warrior starts with a slow atmospheric introduction and some melodic lead guitars that bring you into the song. Then the song kicks off with some heavier drum beats and some retro-sounding heavy metal guitar riffs. Then it was the song Dangerous Games, and this is some more classic heavy metal. I like the breakdown on this one because they slow it down and they use some clean guitars. I like it when bands do that. The next song is called The Church of Rock. This one was a little different. It had more of that epic heavy metal sound. There was a little bit of cheesiness in the lyrics. Kind of had that Man-O-War type of sound. It was more laid back, but I liked it because it was different. It stands out on the album. The next song is called Power Glove. This one has some cheesy lyrics about finding this glove and wielding its power or something of that nature. But I like the song. It was fast-paced. It has a lot of energy, a lot of those galloping guitars, and a very retro sound. Next song is called Against All Odds, and this one reminded me of some Iron Maiden, specifically their sounds from the Peace of Mind album. That's what I got from it, but I like it. I like it when bands show their influences. The penultimate song is called Afterburn. This one has more of the same traditional heavy metal sound with lots of blazing guitar riffs and energetic drum beats. The last song on the album is called World Fighter, or the title track. This one had more of a serious tone, I guess you can call it that. Lyrics are about the state of the world with riots, police, and tear gas. This one was slower, more melodic, had a cool drum beat, and possibly the best song on the album. So I thought it stood out amongst the others. This one was not too bad. Had some classic heavy metal. My score is at 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was similar to the album I just reviewed. It's old school heavy metal. Not much else to say, but check it out. I have one more band to talk about. That is Fu Manchu with The Return of Tomorrow. This one's a little different than the other bands on the list. They are a stoner rock band. They're from Orange County, California, and they've been around for a long time. They started back in 1985, and they are associated with that Palm Desert scene, along with bands like Queens of the Stone Age and Caius. It's their 13th album. It has 13 songs. It's 49 minutes long. The idea behind the album was to create a double album and to have 7 heavy songs and 6 mellow songs. The opening track is Dehumanized, and if you've listened to this band before, you know they're known for having this thick and fuzzy guitar tone. It was actually my first time listening to this band. They remind me a lot of the band Cathedral, which were a doom metal band in the early 90s. There are a lot of those slow and heavy guitar riffs. You can hear a psychedelic rock influence drawing from bands from the early 60s. The next song is Loch Ness Wrecking Machine. I thought the opening guitar riff stood out. It has somewhat of a retro punk rock sound, which is understandable because this band started as a punk band. The next song is called Hands of the Zodiac. This one has that thick and heavy, fuzzy guitar sound that we've been hearing. The guitar solo was pretty cool because it was a typical shredder of a solo, but they kept those fuzzy guitar effects. The next song, Haze the Hides, starts with a slow and heavy bass guitar intro and continues with more of those heavy, almost Black Sabbath-style guitar riffs. The next song is called Roads of the Lowly, and this one had some trippy sounds because I was listening with headphones and you can hear how they toggled the left and right channels, so I thought that was pretty cool. It was like you can hear those fuzzy sounds moving back and forth between your brain. Next song is Time Pulling You Under. The song is only 2 minutes long, but it's straight and to the point. It's very heavy and energetic. Then there's a song, Destroy No Light. This one had some of those slow and heavy guitar riffs. I thought this was pretty cool. Some of the vocals were spoken and it had an almost 90s alternative sound. Next song was a song called Lifetime Waiting, and this one had more of a laid-back, trippy and psychedelic sound, and it was pretty cool. And this is the part of the album where they moved to the more mellow songs that I was talking about before. The next song, Solar Baptized, had a thick bass guitar intro and some spoken vocals. It kind of reminded me of the Rollin bands from the 90s. It was pretty cool. Had some isolated guitar riffs. I like that aspect of it. Also had some trippy parts in the middle of the song. Next song is called What I Need. This is another one of those slow and trippy songs. They turn the distortion down on the guitars and it gives the song more of a desert rock sound. This is one of those songs you can listen to with headphones, lie in your bed and contemplate about all of your life choices up to this point in time. I know that was deep, but that's what I got from the song. Then it was Return of Tomorrow. This one had a retro 70s style proto metal sound. It had that fuzzy guitar tone, and I like the drum fills on the song. Then there was the song Liquidity. It had a funky rhythm. It reminded me of that funk music from the 70s, like something you would hear in those old like police movies. Again, kind of sounds like a weird metaphor, but that's what I got from it. The last song is called High Tide. It's a nearly 3-minute long instrumental. Somewhere in the world, someone just got really high and is thinking the song's about him. It's a slow, jazzy, and trippy song. Had a similar vibe to the Rain song by Led Zeppelin. Overall, it was not too bad. I think I like the second half of this album. It had the slower and trippier songs, but for some reason I've hard time getting to bands that have that really fuzzy guitar sound, but it's okay for me. It's a 7.5 out of 10. I think if you like stoner rock and those types of bands, it's worth checking out. And that is all. Check out last week's episode where I talk about some more metal bands. Thanks for watching. Please like this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you're not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.